Good night. Welcome to Teleislas News, the most relevant and important information of the day. The hard coral tissue loss disease is wreaking havoc in the archipelago. The environmental authorities launched a state of alert and requested help from all government agencies and NGOs to attack this problem.
The Corporation for the Sustainable Development of the Archipelago of San Andres, Providence, and Catlina launches an alert call to the national government and international organizations to address the disease of coral tissue loss, a bacterial infection that can kill a colony in a month and a half to 2 months, reported for the first time in the country in the waters of the archipelago, and that has spread rapidly to 6 different areas of the island.
Esta es una enfermedad relativamente nueva.
This is a new disease. It has been affecting 25 countries in the Greater Caribbean. It is a disease that appeared in 2014 in Florida, and it began to spread in different territories. It was detected within the framework of the Expedition of National Geographic Development in Sorenella and in the East-Southeast Keys, where the presence of this disease is located. In Sorenella and Quinas, the disease was also detected there. Thanks to the reports, we were able to establish that the disease has already arrived in San Andres in the Nirvana sector. Yesterday, the disease was reported for East-Southeast Key. We can see that this disease is spreading rapidly and affects 30% or 30 species of corals.
Concerned about the rapid spread of the disease in the corals of the archipelago, the corporation has established an alliance with local companies to mitigate the disease and is working on an ambitious proposal that seeks to join forces to save the corals.
Ustedes preguntarán, ¿cuál es la acción?
You may be wondering, what is the first action that is coming? There is already a first proposal that we are going to socialize with other institutions, worked with experts, an ambitious proposal that ranges between 4,500 or 6,500 million pesos to start with. We are looking to try to cover the entire biosphere reserve.
Coralina pointed out that the impact of this disease will affect fishing production, diving activities, as well as coastal protection against natural phenomena, indicating that this environmental problem will have consequences for the whole country.
The Ombudsman's Office warns about the situation of sanitary landfills and dumps in 16 departments, since there are 94 unauthorized final disposal sites with risk of violation of human rights of the surrounding communities, and among them is San Andres.
The Ombudsman's Office alerted about the situation in the operation and disposal of waste in landfills, transition cells, and open dumps in 16 departments of the country, including San Andres.
At the Ombudsman's Office, we set aside the situation of sanitary landfills, dumps, and transition cells in 16 departments. The entity followed up on landfills in San Andres and Old Providence, Cesar, Magdalena, Chocó, Bucaramanga, Santander, Nariño, Putumayo, Antioquia, Cauca, Sucre, Amazonas, Casanare, Cundinamarca, and Tolima. After visiting the final waste disposal sites and meeting with the surrounding communities, we found that there are 94 sites that are at risk of human rights violations. We were able also to establish that some authorized disposal sites are reaching their useful life.
After reviewing data from the Residential Public Utilities Superintendency, the Ombudsman's Office found that there are 94 unauthorized final disposal sites with risk of violation of human rights of the surrounding communities.
The Ombudsman's Office calls on the Ministries of Environment and Housing to review the terms of reference for the construction of sanitary landfills and adopt issues such as citizen participation, area of influence, use of waste, and control of vectors in the new methodology of the preparation of environment impacts study.
The entity will continue to monitor these waste disposal sites throughout the country and will submit a report before the end of the year.
Today, the Gloria ship sailed to Coveñas, Sucre after 3 days in the department, where tourists and residents got to know this emblematic vessel.
For 3 days, the Gloria ship was anchored in the archipelago where locals and tourists were able to visit the ship and learn a little of the history and journey that the vessel has had. Today, they set sail for Coveñas, Sucre, and again the attendees were delighted with a routine and the maneuvers they performed at the time of departure.
El buque Escuela Gloria.
The vessel visited us in the archipelago. It was in Old Providence where it lasted only 1 day, and here in San Andres it has been visiting us since Sunday. Now it is sailing to Coveñas where it would arrive on September 30th. We were able to receive more than 3,000 people during these 3 days when the ship was in the Port Society of San Andres, and I think everyone was very happy to receive it. It is a pride and honor to have it here in San Andres. This shows the importance of the San Andres archipelago for the Colombian state, also for the seafarers to know these lands and the importance of this territory.
For the attendees, it is gratifying to have the opportunity to know and see the launching of the Gloria ship.
Because it's something different. It's a distraction.
Yes, hermoso.
It is the best. We had made a trip before and we had not been able to see the departure, and it's beautiful. This makes us very proud.
And the hearing of the departmental governor, Everett Hawkins Shogreen, was held during the morning hours today in the presence of the prosecutor, Victor Salcedo, who presented the argument for the indictment of the main leader of the island territory. The hearing will continue tomorrow, and we will be expanding this news as the departmental administration and the prosecutor's office provide more information about what happened in the hearing. Today, 27th of September, is the World Tourism Day, an important day for the island considering that the main economic income of the department comes from tourism. The Secretary of Tourism gave an excellent assessment of what has been the development of tourism in the islands.
The archipelago is still one of the favorite destinations for national and international visitors. San Andres, Providence, and Santa Catalina continue to break records among the most visited and requested places by travelers. For this reason, it is necessary to highlight the Day of Tourism, which is commemorated precisely to make the international community aware of the social, cultural, and economic value of this activity. According to the Secretary of Tourism, tourist occupancy has been quite high this year.
We've been having a fairly high occupancy rate, so the increase was visible. The difference between before the week of recess and after the week of recess is not going to be so big. Now we are having an occupancy rate of over 80% during the week of recess. We can reach 95%. So if we look at it, it is a very low percentage versus before when we managed the 3 seasons, low, medium, and high. Right now we are basically in high season the whole year.
From the Secretariat of Tourism, more than Sun Beach and Sand cultural tourism has been strengthening. By means of tourism, the island and racial culture can be promoted and strengthened.
We are working with the Association of Fair Tables, looking for ways to train them and to create some very nice typical racial uniforms to create the route and to find a way to give them some kind of stand or booth where they can begin to have their meals so that they begin to be a little more visible.
With pride and satisfaction, the World Tourism Day is made visible in our department. The Tourism Secretariat of the department continues to work to ensure safety and comfortable stay for visitors who choose to visit the department.
The Hotel and Tourism Association of Colombia, Cotelco Chapter San Andres and Providence, celebrates today the World Tourism Day. The president of the Hotel Guild expressed the importance of the work being done in the department.
Celebrating today the Day of Tourism, Cotelco San Andres branch expressed this through its president Juan Carlos Osorio in a statement shared today where he said, and I quote, "Rethinking tourism should be a permanent fixture among those of us in the happiness industry tourism has become one of the players in international trade and represents at the same time one of the main sources of income for many developing countries. That is why today, in addition to the permanent investment that is implemented to offer an operation that responds to the level of tourism that we develop, 70% of the affiliated establishments have carried out or are carrying out infrastructure works with an approximate investment of 25 billion pesos, close quotes. According to Cotelco, the works range from innovation in the design of wet areas, modernization of reception areas, structural works, and renovation of services to providing hotels with quality standards in the islands. They also emphasize that tourism activity requires an enormous mobilization of economic resources and additional benefit for the environment, culture, and the elimination of poverty, since in general it is a less polluting activity than others and is linked to local cultures that become an attraction for visitors. Open quotes. For the islands and their inhabitants, tourism is a real challenge. Having a shared and consolidated objective is becoming more and more urgent. The evolution of the tourist and his interest force the destination to a permanent re-engineering, which goes from the training of human talent, the innovation in the product, and the permanent investment in the assets, as our affiliates are doing. Close quotes. This was Osorio's conclusion in the communique. Teleislas News tried to contact the president of the hotel industry in the islands. However, it was not possible because he's on a business trip.
Regional channel Teleislas will be part of a new proposal that seeks to exalt the country's tourist diversity through a journey that they can enjoy from their homes. It is the first docu-reality on sustainable tourism in which the 8 regional channels participate, called Ruta Colombia. If you want to know more details and participate, go to www.rutaporcolombia.com and fill out the form. Sister Floralba Perez passed away today after years of battling a terminal illness. The community of the Sagrada Familia Educational Institution mourns her departure. It should be remembered that for several years she served as director of this institution. Teleislas regrets her departure, and we offer an affectionate and thoughtful embrace to her family and closest relatives. And now we continue with sport news with Victor Fusalba.
Hello, here are the best sports of the islands. Caribbean Storm with their first win by defeating the Cartagena team Corsarios. The victory of the Caribbean Storm against the Corsarios of Cartagena was due to the performance of the players who stood out in that game. The presence of Michael Jackson and the North American reinforcement were both factors for this first victory of the Caribbean Storm. The team seeks to mesh step by step, and with another reinforcement to arrive today, Ivan Garcia will seek the winning streak to better position itself in the standings of the W Play League of Colombian Professional Basketball. These were the words of coach Ivan Garcia.
Una buena sensación porque necesitábamos ganar.
A good feeling because we need to win. This is a very short league where we have to consolidate step by step. I have always said that this type of league where we have almost no preparation games in the preseason. The first games are of much adjustment. We as a team believe that from the 5th game we will have the necessary chemistry to compete with the real potential we have. For this league, we are going to improve. We are going to be under construction, obviously. We are working. The players are getting ready, and I believe that step by step we are going to build a good team that by November we aspire to be in the finals. We are going to make a team with a totally different phase because it is a team that is being built step by step and in a very solid way, and that in one way or another will mark the phase that Caribbean Storm will have from here on.
The outstanding players for the Caribbean Storm were Josimar Ayarza with 26 points, 5 rebounds and 2 assists. Michael Jackson with 20 points, 8 rebounds and 1 assist. And the North American Greg Foster with 18 points, 7 rebounds and 8 assists to beat the team from Cartagena 85-73. Caribbean Storm goal is to give continuity to the team's base and make progress in order to reach the finals of the tournament as stated by Coach Garcia. And in baseball, an almost perfect evening for the Loma team who defeated the San Luis team. A great afternoon of baseball took place at the Wellingworth Mays Stadium, where the two teams San Luis and Loma came out to give their best to define a great game of baseball. An excellent afternoon for the pitcher of the Loma team, who almost had a perfect afternoon with his pitches. Only one hit by William Cabeza.
First of all, I want to give thanks to God for the game He allowed us to play today, because He allowed me to pitch a complete game. It was the first time that I did a complete game. Sadly, they took away the average from me from the last batter in the last inning, but thank God we won. It was a tough game. It was really tough. I already had an idea of how to pitch for San Luis. I had already pitched against them 4 times. Thanks to God, things worked out for me. And of course, I came with a work plan since before the game began. Since yesterday, I studied the batters from the previous night. San Luis team has some really good batters. Thank God I already knew how to somewhat pitch against them. Things worked out, thanks to God.
This summer tournament of the Departmental Baseball League will continue at a good pace and improving. And this will be all in sports for tonight. We will see you on another broadcast. We continue with Lisa.
Thank you, Victor. And this is all for tonight with sport news. We reached to the end of our broadcast, but we see you tomorrow at 1 p.m. with more of Teleislas news. Good night.